Welcome back everyone to Mordor, and we are here in the Doomfold, which is a very nasty place, and this is what comes to my mind when I hear the word Mordor. It is ash strewn. We've got this volcano back here that looks like Mount Doom, and fire all over the place. Bats here. Let me test out my combat. And bats seem to like to stun you. Looks like the ambient shadow value is 30. Fortunately, I'm at 38 light right now, so until I hit into a real nasty place, I should be able to at least stay above that curve, but this bat is proving to be somewhat difficult. So I have to take that into account. Defeated enemies in Dor Amarth, 1 of 12. And that is for the book quest, so I have to keep that into account. But as I am killing these, I might as well make my way towards the other quests that I have, the ones given to me by the prisoner, to see what they are after. I wonder how it is that I don't have warning shot on this character. I think I must have thought it was something that wasn't really all that needed, but I think that was before I realized that there was some sort of debuff on the enemy when they have it on them. So let me check that out to see if I can get warning shot maybe when I hit 11:1. And that would be good. Hold on. There seems to be a dwarf in the area. Yes, there is. Yes, that is most definitely a dwarf. And that looks like a goat. And that looks like a shield. I think it's time to talk to Gimli and see what he thinks about it. Though I should note that I did double check. Yes, warning shots blue line. Well, so much for that thought. I have only one more to kill, so let's see if I can make it one of these Sula kill and see how I can do against this thing. Not that these are particularly enemies, but I figure we might as well see how I do against a signature, because if I can't do a signature here, then it'll be a lot tougher on... Well, so much for that experiment. Oh! Those weren't friends. Uh-oh. Not good! Yeah, I'm not being able to get those guys. I was not expecting a camp of Easterlings to come at me also. Oh well. There's that. Okay, so my last one won't be that Sula kill after all. Fine, we'll go after one of my arch enemies, the Salamander, instead. Though, keep an eye on those Easterlings down there, because I'm not in the mood of facing an Easterling warband at this time. I'm not too sure if I could take on an Easterling warband. I certainly couldn't while I was already fighting a signature. I don't want to test my fate there. But, looks like I can handle a salamander, though. Unlike most salamanders I've been facing, this one seems to like diseases. Well, this is Mordor. I suppose that's apropos. So the lack of fire is rather unusual, considering that we're in the Doomfold and pretty close to an erupting volcano. Now, let us deliver this. We need to speak to Gimli, and we need to tell them about the beast we've killed. Hello there, Gimli! I found a dead dwarf, a goat, and this shield.
What is this?
By your description of his wounds, the dwarf you encountered must have been caught in a stray stone thrown from the depths of Mount Doom. A poor dwarf indeed, but not one slain by malice. The Dark Lord must not have brought my kin to ruin after all. Ha ha! Look at this, my friend. This shield is newly forged and crafted by skilled hands. So, dwarves still dwell in Mordor, but where have they made their home? Well, that we'll have to find out, I guess. Aye, this is a tricky land. I do not know what beasts could live in such a place, but dwarves are hardy folk. These dwarves of Mordor must dwell somewhere in the Doomfold, but perhaps they do not wish to be found. If they make use of dwarf doors as the House of Durin once did in Khazad-dûm, even the most thorough search would never bear fruit. Let us hope it does not come to that. You found the dwarf near the causeway that leads to the Dark Tower, you said? If you ask me, no dwarf would be wise to travel these lands alone. And even if one did, they would soon be sought out if they did not return. Patrol the causeway to the east and see if you do not find others of his kin. And ones with better luck, I would hope. All right. I'll see if I could find a slightly more lucky dwarf. And we have Prugos here. Hello there. I've managed to thin out the enemies in the area a little bit.
Can it be that this land was once much like any other?
Though I should warn you that there are Kundalar war patrols going around all over the place, and that they're a bit tough to face. I'll just warn you about that. Yes, I have faced many foes myself, but still my mind worries at the subject about which we spoke. Can it be that this land was once much the same as any other, but the coming of Sauron laid waste to it? There are countless reasons to rejoice that he is gone, but even for one among many, it must approach the top of my list. If he could do this to Mordor, could he not have worked such a change upon Gondor, or even Rohan, or upon Eriador? I deem that he could. Further, I contend that the transformation of Dora Marth to this blasted plain was not accidental. I believe he did it purposely, with malice intent, if not for some scheme, than merely for the hateful joy of it. Maybe just like to set up shop next to a volcano? No? Okay, never mind. I spoke about this with Cordoville, who dared the passage into Ismouth with me. She came along! I think it was she who first planted these thoughts in my mind, and now I cannot stop thinking about them. She intended to travel northeast to Lugosh. I warned her to be careful, but she found that mirthful and laughed at my warning. She's a bit crazy that way. And she is a scholar, and a bit odd if you ask me, but I do hope she is being careful all the same. Perhaps you could find her and see how she fares? All right, fine. I will look for Cordoville and see if she is fine, or if she managed to be slightly less lucky than that other dwarf. Early in my stay in Mordor, I had been wondering where the cisterns were that were along the side of the road, and I sort of underestimated the scale of those things. I thought that they would be a lot smaller than this. Let's look at this. That's a sizable cistern. I don't know why I'd always imagined them as being a lot smaller than that, but they certainly did something with the cisterns to ensure that it looked like this is where people came to drink, though the water supply is a bit low. Then again, we are talking about Mordor, not exactly the rainiest spot in Middle-earth. Hello there, you want something to drink? Because that water doesn't look very fresh. There you go. Hello there, would you like some fresher water? There you go. Hey, would you like some fresher water? Alright. Hey, now these dwarves are a bit parched, but let's face it, they are certainly a lot luckier than that other dwarf we found. And there you go, a little bit of water. Hello there, do you want
Sauron took everything from us, and then he took more.
What is it? Why you what do you want? Why have you come here? Whatever your purpose is here, we want no part of it. Sir, he did help us with some fresher water than we usually get. Oh, well then, you don't mean any harm to us. Well, Sauron told us that the folk of the West were not to be trusted, especially those from the kingdoms of men and elves. Yeah, like you're going to listen to what Sauron says. I think that's your first mistake. Well then, let us speak and I shall decide if I have been misled. Alrighty.
How have we fallen so far?
That's a good question. It has been a long time since my folk last spoke to outsiders, especially those with the might to bring him low. For what purpose have you come to these lands? To liberate its peoples? Conquest? I suppose it does not matter now. You're here, and so that is that. The deathless may not see it so, but their quarrels are their own. Yeah. I must ask, in your vast armies, were there any dwarves? We have seen naught of our kin and cousins in the lands beyond Mordor since the early days of our folk in the mountains to the east, and I would be gladdened to learn that we are not the last dwarves of this realm. Well, I was in fact sent here to look for the friends of a slain dwarf by one called Gimli, and Gimli is of the house of Durin, and they're quite a prosperous clan, I think. Ah, so one of my kin has come to these lands. If he so wishes it, I would much desire to meet him. And tell this Gimli of the stout axes of Mordor, if he wishes to meet with me, I would have us forge a new peace, free of Sauron's influence. Go. I shall wait for a time, and if you do not return, I shall honor his choice. Well then, I think it's time for us to head over to Gimli and tell him that we have found some lucky dwarves. Assuming you can call someone stuck living in the land of Mordor as lucky, maybe it's a relative term. Hello, Gimli. I found some living dwarves. You found them after all, Pineleaf? Oh ho! Tell me about them. There we go. Yeah, they are known as the Stout Axe Dwarves of Mordor, and their origins are in the mountains to the east, and that Sparkorth has asked to meet with you if you wish to do it. He's at a muddied cistern along the causeway. Stout Axe Dwarves. I have never heard of a house of that name in all my years. Perhaps it was a name given to them by the Dark Lord, or their line was broken. Yeah, ha ha! Still, they did you no harm, so I'll hear Sparkoth's words. What's wrong, Legolas? Oh, you think they're up to something, do you? Well, for all I know of them, they might well be. Why don't you come along with me, Legolas? Let us go to Losrock Pineleaf. Lead the way. All right, let's go. Here we are at Blazronk Cistern, and hello, Gimli. Please meet Sparkorth. Aye, he's a dwarf all right. Not that I doubted you, Pineleaf, but I am just as surprised as you to find dwarves here in Mordor. The stout axes, I must admit. I have many questions I wish to ask about the early years of your folk, and how they came to dwell here. There is so much to be learned from them. Even if they toiled under the Dark Lord, I'd wager they're still a better lot than the dour hands. See, Leglos, it's not like he's got evil eyes painted over him. I think it's time we properly introduce ourselves. Oh, wouldn't you say? All right. Hail! I am Gimli, son of Gloin, of Durin's folk. Hail! I am Gimli, son of Durin's folk. I am Sparkoth of the Stout Axes. I am one of many servants to the mistress of Luglash, and I come bearing an offer of peace between our houses. Do you speak for the mistress of Lugash, or for the Stout Axes? I speak only for my kin, and they desire to be free of the mistress's rule. We only wish to rule ourselves once more. Will you aid us? You served Sauron, did you not? How can we trust your words? Oh, nonsense! They're not like the Darhas, Legolas! By Durin's beard, I swear your folk shall be free once more. I will not protest, Gimli, but one of us must return to Dingarth and keep watch at Dor Amarth. And so I shall. All right. Well, I needed only one guess as to which one that would be.
How have we fallen so far?
Gimli seems a fine dwarf, and I am glad to have met him. He has many questions, and I am pleased to say that I can provide him with many of the answers he seeks. If there is time enough, I have questions of my own. We stout axes hold little sway in Mordor, but we dwell in peace within the flaming spire under the rule of Mistress Zorth. We are no dwarf kingdom of old, but we are not so few as to be forgotten in this land, for even Sauron could not forget us. If you or Gimli wish it, you are welcome to visit our home in Lugash, provided the mistress does not find out, of course. Ha ha! But if she didn't know you were there...
How have we fallen so far?
Once the stout axes were a great kingdom of dwarves, but over many long years our fates diminished, and we became slaves and servants of the powers of Mordor. Early in this age, Sauron reclaimed the ring given to our folk, and still he dwelt in the east. He sought for it some use on the men of far-off lands, and he would not hear the protests of our king of old. Even deprived of its power and of the symbol of our house, Sauron considered us his allies, and he welcomed us in Mordor. Ah! Had it been but that! When he came to us next, the stout axes were unmade. 78 years ago, Sauron returned to Mordor in a rage, and all the favor we had earned was cast aside. He destroyed our kingdom and took our king to the dungeons of the Dark Tower. We had a home no longer, and so we lived only at the mercy of the men of Mordor. Now Sauron is gone, but still we serve, lowly as we are now in the eyes of all in Mordor. None but the mistress of Lugash, Zorth, would have us, and so now we serve her. She desires the weapon and trinkets of the Dark Lord above all else, but what portion of his might remains in them I cannot say. We have sought them since his fall, but every search has come to naught. Days we have searched now, and with little food or rest. It is time for my kin to return to Lugash. even if Mistress Zorith does not wish it. There are 4 other expeditions about this land, Pineleaf. Find them and send them home to Lugash. If you wish to meet my folk, you shall meet us there. Very well. Oh, what? You have other stuff for us to do?
How have we fallen so far?
Lugash rises to the east, nestled within the rocky hill atop the deep valley. Alas, the stout axes are not the only ones in the service of the mysteries of Lugash. Someday I'll get that consonant right. You see, Mistress Zoreth has grown emboldened since the fall of the Dark Lord, and she has drawn many vile spirits into the watching stones of this land. Through their eyes, both servants and foes are revealed, and their designs exposed. She is distrustful, even of her own kin, and so she instead wields her spirits as servants and spies. In this way, she seeks to find the resting place of the Dark Lord's most powerful trinkets. We stout axes think it a foolish search, and we would have no part in it, were the choice ours. If you wish to come to Lugash, you must challenge her watching stones and banish the spirits from them. If you do not, she shall soon know of you and Gimli. When it is done, and her spirits have been cast back into the shadows, I shall meet you at the lower gates of Lugash. Right. But that is not what we're going to do next episode, because in the next episode, I think we need to return to camp and cast our allegiance. And that's what we'll do in the next episode of Pineleaf in Mordor.